Football Convos number 6, Emory Hunt.
Tim Tebow can't play. You know, that to me, that's one of the biggest myths out there, because can't play.
For daily conversations with the players, coaches, and contributors that make this game great.
Regulators, mount up. We're coming.
Football Convos. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Very happy to be joined now on Football Convos by none other than Emory Hunt. You can find him on the Twitter machine at FBall Gameplan. Emory, how you doing today?
Doing fine, Andy. I appreciate you having me on today.
He is the CEO and founder of Football Gameplan, but as we'll get to, the man is a jack of all trades. Now, when you say football, talking about Football Gameplan, you do mean football, because you got NFL, college, CFL, AFL, indoor, women's football, high school, world football, the fall experimental football league thing that they were doing. You guys cover everything.
Yeah, if it involves a pigskin, we got it covered, man. We just love the game of football, and we attack it at every corner of the globe, you know.
Very cool. And we were talking before we started recording that you're doing some stuff on the bowl games. Now, do you think that there is too many bowl games out there nowadays?
You know what? It's funny because I remember, you know, I'm going to say my junior year in high school, there were this was like 96, 97, there were 16 bowl games. Mm-hmm. You know, you had to be exceptional to get to a bowl game, and it ended on New Year's Day. Now you look at it as 40 bowl games. That means what? More than a third of the, more than what, 3/4 of the teams in the FBS get to a bowl game. And so it's just, you know, I would say it's a little bit too much. And if they want to maximize the opportunities as far as like the crowds are concerned, you have to shrink the bowl games, because who's going to go to a bowl game in the middle of the week in Detroit? And there's no knocking Detroit, but in the wintertime it's tough to get to, and there's nothing really you can do. So I think there are too many bowl games, but from a player's perspective, you have to love that there are a lot of bowl games, because you do get that experience of going to a bowl game, mm-hmm. Gifts, the camaraderie, and to say you played in a bowl game is always a good thing.
Even if it is the Humanitarian Bowl up in Boise, like 10-degree weather.
Exactly, you know.
At least you get a Best Buy gift card out of it. Yay.
Better than nothing, nowadays in college athletics.
That is true. All right, so I wanted to get you on and talk about your football story. So where did it all start with you?
As far as what, Football Game Plan, or just in general?
Just in general. Take me back. When did you first learn the game, and then we'll get to Football Game Plan down the road.
Well, when I was 5 years old, I've been playing organized football since I was 5, mm-hmm. Back in New Orleans. And, it was just interesting is just the fact that you find something that you're pretty good at, and you want to keep doing it. As with any kid, I'm able to catch the football pretty well. I'm able to run pretty well. And then you just want to keep growing. And by the time you reach high school, you become fairly good at it. And those opportunities at the collegiate level open up for you. And then you have it. And, after my collegiate days were done, I just wanted to continue to stay in it. So I went back and coached at my old high school, and, was able to do that and got that feeling, stepped away from the game for a minute to go in corporate America. But the thing about a passion like football, and it's something that has been a very big, important part of my life, it always finds a way to pull you back in. So that's the reason why back in 2007 I started Football Game Plan. It was like, you know what, I got to find my way to get back in the game, whether it be coaching or doing something like this. And this was one way that keeps me in the game, but also doing things that I went to school for, which is broadcasting and becoming an analyst and things of that nature, just trying to share my knowledge of the game to the folks out there in the masses.
And you mentioned you played in college, and I got you playing running back at University of Louisiana. Is that correct?
That's correct, the Raging Cajuns.
There you go. Now, what was your comparison? Self-scout yourself. Who did you remind yourself of?
Man, it was funny. As a high school player, I was a receiver up until my 10th grade year, and I tore my ACL, mm-hmm. and I gained 30 pounds. So they moved me to running back. But when I was a receiver, I always thought I was Desmond Howard. I laid out for every pass that was thrown my way. And but as a running back in high school, I thought I wanted to be Ricky Williams or Herschel Walker or something like that. I got to college, I realized the guys are a lot bigger and faster, so I had to scale back my expectations a little bit. But if I had to compare the type of back I was in college, I would say I was probably like a Sean Green type with excellent hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wasn't as fast. I was a shifty guy, more in between the tackles, but I had tremendous catching ability because of my receiver background. But I was, 225 pounds at 5'10". So
Sean Green Jets, not Sean Green Titans, right?
Sean Green, Iowa.
Oh, there you go. That's a way back.
Right. You know, but also Sean Green Jets, too. Some people told me, talking to some old teammates of mine, they'd always say I reminded them a little bit of Edgerrin James, even though I didn't see it. And they also said, they toss out some old guys like Cedric Irving or some players like that. So just a shorter, thicker back that had tremendous hands.
There you go. Now, football game plan, what was the genesis of that?
Just doing something that, instead of complaining about something, you go out there, you make a difference. And I was always frustrated with the content that's being put out there on the national outlets. Mm-hmm. So instead of complaining to friends of mine about what we don't see on TV, just do something about it. And it started as a website. In 2007, 2009, we added a video component. And in 2011, we added a podcast component. And we just came out with a book and stuff like that. So we're a multifaceted football outlet that we just stick straight to football. We're all filet, no fat. And the fans love it.
All filet, no fat. I love that line. It's great. Now, what are some of the things that Football Game Plan puts out that you found were missing on the mainstream outlets?
Just straight football talk. I mean, the one thing you won't see on Football Game Plan is us talking about, what's going on in the locker room or what happened off the field. We don't have time to keep up with stuff like that. There's billions of outlets already out there. That's fine. We're covering that aspect. We just want to talk football. And if you want to just talk football, listen to football, learn a little bit about the game, this is your place to be.
You're not going to be comparing Johnny Manziel's passing yards to the Cavs' passing yards. Right?
Right.
I couldn't believe when I saw that. I'm like, damn, SportsCenter is running out of things to talk about.
And you would think with the access and the resources that those major outlets have, that they would just feed, the public with this type of information. But again, I guess that's what it makes you wonder if this is what people want or is what I'm doing what people prefer. So it's just crazy to see.
And scouting is a big component of there. Now, when you're starting to look at a player, where do you start?
I kind of start with, it's almost like when you're breaking down games, let's say for one of these bowl previews that I'm putting out, you kind of watch like 3 or 4 games to get a good feel of what teams do, what their tendencies are. So when you break down a game, you have an idea of what you would do to stop it. And guys just tend to jump out at you on film. So if I'm breaking down a Louisiana-Lafayette game or an Air Force game, you just kind of see the same player over and over just showcasing himself on the field. You take notes and you put those players' names down, whether it be a freshman or a senior, and you just kind of go back and when you have time, let's say when the season is over, and then you start to look at guys like, okay, let me go back and look at this guy a little bit more and just solely focus on him and break him down from a technical standpoint. So that's how I go about breaking down players. You just highlight guys in the midst of you breaking down games.
Who's the one player that's impressed you most, the one that's popped right away since you've been doing this?
Well, last year it was just amazing. There was 2 guys, I'll say, and 2 years ago it was Jeff Matthews, quarterback out of Cornell. Just the way he threw the football was just amazing. You just saw an arm out of this world, and the fact that he was out there breaking a lot of records, I felt compelled to go and watch him live because I certain things that get you up off the couch, so to speak, in football terms. You see a lot of players, guys can catch, guys can run, guys can block and tackle, but it's that special something that makes you go wow and want to see more. And he had that arm that I wanted to see. And last year it was Carlos Fields, the linebacker from Winston-Salem State. And when you look at linebackers now, everyone's kind of like a run and chase guy, and it's kind of like drag down tackle or improper technique. And this guy was a throwback. And when you pop on his film, if you can imagine Bobby Boucher in The Water Boy, he was just blowing guys up. That was Carlos Fields. It was just like, it was so funny. I text my coach, the guy that coached me in college, and he now coaches down at Lamar. I was like, hey, did you ever see Carlos Fields from Winston-Salem State, and all he responded back was, "Man, look, ... You know, it was like, yeah, I've seen him. He is a tremendous player. And that was the two guys that just leaped off the screen at me when I was watching film.
Now, you mentioned Bobby Boucher. Now, your time at Louisiana-Lafayette, you never played South Central Louisiana State, did you?
Nah, but you know what's so funny? They when I got there as a freshman, you know, that was 99, my freshman season, and that movie came out in 98, my senior year in high school. And the guys at the school, the director of football operations was telling us, he was like, you know, the movie was loosely based on our program and McNeese State's program. I was like, wow, that's hilarious. This is crazy.
Mud Dogs football, baby. Now, Jeff Matthews, he spent some time with Atlanta, didn't he?
Yeah, he spent the camp with Atlanta, and he was on the Colts practice squad for about a couple of weeks, and now he's a free agent. I think the Hamilton Tiger Cats also own his rights, so he's trying to weigh his options, whether or not he's going to get another opportunity in the NFL or just go up to Canada, because they also have the rights, or his teammate, Luke Tasker, that caught a lot of his touchdown passes, was playing up there in Hamilton and now just got a tryout with the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, yeah, I just saw that. He got a little tryout with the Packers this week, which is kind of interesting. Also, I found interesting that Tasker lost in 2 Grey Cups. This after his dad, Steve Tasker, was on those great Buffalo Bills team, and then they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Kind of
tradition.
Yeah. Tradition unlike any other in the Tasker family. And you bring up CFL, and you guys do a lot more CFL stuff than any other site. Like you said, anything football, it's on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why we go about it this way is that when, you know, as you're, you know, playing in college and you see your teammates, you know, guys that are pretty good that don't get that opportunity in the NFL, they end up going to either the Arena Football League or the CFL. So you tend to follow those guys that you knew or guys that you played with or played against. And then you look at the game. It's like, you know what? This is a valuable option for guys that, you know, if they want to just continue to play football and get paid for it. And so we cover it just like we would cover the NFL, break it down the same way. And so that's why we treat it that way, because, again, guys are out there maybe don't know about the CFL or know what it can bring or think it's just a bush league, but they've been around just as long as the NFL, if not longer. And, you know, so just giving those college football players opportunities and guys that want to coach or scout, that's just another outlet for them.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, I'm reading Bud Grant's autobiography right now, and there was a time where guys, you know, big-time players like Archie Karras even, were deciding if they want to play in the NFL or the CFL. It was a big deal then and still is to a degree.
Yeah, because the thing is, at the time, the CFL was paying just as much as the NFL before the big TV contracts started to come into play, and that's when they just leaps and bounds bypass the CFL as far as pay is concerned. But you can still make pretty good coin up north, and plus you're playing football, you know, for a living. You can't compete. You can't complain with that.
Yeah, and plus, just because you're up in the CFL doesn't mean you can't transition to the NFL. My Vikings are coming up and playing the Dolphins this week, and we all know the story about Cameron Wake just coming undrafted, kicking around some camps, went up to the CFL and beasted, then coming down and doing the same in the NFL now.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of guys just think it's a subpar league, but guys just don't get that opportunity. I mean, we talk about it in our book about how, you know, the myth is that the best players are in the NFL is not necessarily true, you know, because you can't sit here and tell me that Ryan Fitzpatrick is one of the best football players in the world, you know, and he is playing in the NFL. You know, you can't tell me Matt Castle is one of the best football players in the world. So when you look at guys like Cameron Wake or Brandon Browner playing up north, there's plenty of guys. I could make a list of 12 guys right now just off the top of my head that I would take from the CFL and just plant on NFL rosters as starters. So those are the guys that, you know, are going to showcase, and hopefully they get that opportunity like Wake did.
Now, where would Deron Carter fall on that list for you?
I think Carter would be one of the outstanding receivers in the game. And he's a guy that he hadn't played a lot of football getting into Montreal, and last year was big for him because he got better as the season progressed, and he became a viable threat. And coming into this season, he just built on that. Despite the inconsistencies at quarterback play this year and also with the injuries he dealt with, he still was able to improve his game. So his trajectory is pointing in the right direction. So I think wherever he signs, this offseason. He's going to put in the work. He's going to do a great job, and he's going to get out there and showcase that, hey, I played in the CFL, I still have talent, and I'm ready to contribute to an NFL roster.
Yeah, I know, and I'm still a little sore that the Vikings had him in the building. I think it was 2010, it might have been 2011. Let him get out. Of course, he needed a ton more seasoning, but now it looks like we're not going to be on the inside track to get him back in here, despite his heritage with the Minnesota Viking bloodline. You mentioned your book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. Tell me a couple of those myths.
Well, one is that the big one I like to talk about, and I put it in there, I wrote that one myself, is Tim Tebow can't play. That to me, that's one of the biggest myths out there, because can't play. If you can't play, you can't play. That there's clear examples of guys that cannot play. And if you have had the track record of success like Tim Tebow has, you don't be successful at the high school level. You don't be successful at the collegiate level, at the highest level in college football and in the SEC. You don't win Heisman trophies, and you don't come in the NFL and be successful when they cater an offense around what you do well, which is what you're supposed to do as a coach. So to say Tim Tebow can't play is false, because if he wasn't able to play, it will look a lot like the Houston Texans quarterback situation. And, you don't go out and help your football team win games. I mean, that was a Broncos team that was 1-4 when they threw him in there as a starter, and he went to the playoffs and won the playoff game. So if he couldn't play, none of that would have happened. They would finish 1-15 that year. So big myth.
So do you think he would be an upgrade over the Houston Texans quarterback situation right now?
Absolutely. And it's sad when you have guys like Tim Tebow that are out there, a guy like Terrell Pryor that's not on an NFL roster. Oakland still has problems at quarterback. And when they had Pryor at quarterback, they were 3-6, and he was fighting an uphill battle because the coach did not want him to be out there. And you see that a lot with guys that are just out the league and people are thinking that they can't play or they busted out. They didn't bust out. Sometimes there are dumb coaches out there that just, are trying to square peg, round hole this thing and not realize that football is an easy game. So I just hate seeing guys that are in their athletic peak not getting that opportunity to go out there and compete. Tim Tebow is one. Pryor is another one. You saw it happen with Vince Young. I see them put up the graphic with his win-loss record. I know a lot of things go into that, but the Titans haven't had success since he was the quarterback. He was 30-17 as their starter. They haven't had anyone of the 7 guys that come close to that since they cut him.
And you mentioned Tebow, Vince Young, Terrell Pryor. Do you think an NFL offense could have sustained success if they do cater to an athletic dual threat type quarterback like that?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at what happened when you had Steve Young. You had John Elway was an athletic guy. It took John Elway actually about a good 8 years to get it right. A lot of people only focus on the last 2 years of his career, but John Elway was pretty doggone average for the first part of his career. And then he started to cater to what he does well, get him on the move, bootlegs, things like that. Steve Young, Joe Montana was a mobile guy. You see Aaron Rodgers runs a version of what they call the read option or, spread attack, a pro spread attack. So I think that you can have sustained success. The problem with these other guys that I mentioned, the Tebows, your Pryors, your Vince Youngs, teams don't want to build around them. Look what happened when you have a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who I believe is an average quarterback. Instantly, they went out and signed Mike Wallace. They drafted Lamar Miller. They signed Noshawn Moreno. They draft Jarvis Landry, Gator Hoskins. They also draft Charles Clay. They surround him with talent, and they also drafted along the offensive line to try to ensure success. Now, you also look at Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, Hakeem Nicks. They trade for Trent Richardson, although he hasn't panned out, but they've made the effort to get better around Andrew Luck, Kobe Fleener, Dwayne Allen. So, and now you compare that to Russell Wilson. They draft Russell Wilson, and you can't even pick out someone that's competent on offense outside of Marshawn Lynch to help him progress in the passing game. Even though he's doing it, but imagine if they added valuable options around him to be successful. So it can work. Teams just have to do it the right way.
Yep, I agree. And you mentioned you had a show on Blog Talk Radio. What do you guys cover on there?
Everything. We have a show practically covering the CFL, the draft, the NFL, college football. We have a coaching show, Arena Football League in the spring, women's tackle football we cover in the spring as well. with our indoor league. So, and our Saturday show is our flagship radio program where we do your football topics, sort of like this, where we just interview people. We cover controversial topics. One of the topics that we generated a lot of interest in was this one topic of, do you think the best players are in the NFL? And we had a bunch of guys call in, guys that are playing overseas in, Europe, call in. And we also talked about black quarterbacks. And do you think they're getting an unfair shake in the NFL? And that was a heavy topic. So we cover topics like that along with interviews of different people, whether it be players, coaches, administrators, and we just have fun, a lot of fun on Saturdays.
You mentioned leagues outside the NFL. We all knew about like the World Football League and then NFL Europe. What's currently going on outside the United States football-wise?
Well, football in Europe is huge, and you look at there's 65 football playing countries. So you're probably going to see football in the Olympics by 2020 or whenever the second to next Olympic Games are. Football, I believe, will be in the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
Ooh.
You look at the IFAF, the International Federation of American Football, and so out those 65 countries, United States included, let's just take out the United States. Each one of those other countries has their own football league. So I have a college teammate of mine that's coaching in Germany right now. And he talks about, he's like, man, we get a lot of guys come over from United States to come and play, and along with the German kids, and they're of the 20-year-old range. That's like their professional league over there. So it's huge. France has a huge influence in football. The UK, Germany, the Netherlands, all those areas are big in football. Even Japan and Mexico. Japan's been playing college football since 1946. So
really.
Yeah, so it's a lot of football that's going on around the world. So guys that are out there listening, if you're a college football player, you want to continue to play, you haven't had that NFL opportunity, don't be afraid to get your passport and go overseas and play some football.
Imagine some of those sumo wrestlers in Japan could kind of be like Wisconsin's offensive line.
Right. And I would say this was 2008, I believe, in the World Cup for American football. Japan was giving the United States all they could handle in a championship game. I think they ended up losing 17-10, but they were beating the United States up on the line of scrimmage. They were beating them out on the flanks. They were running the Gus Malzahn offense and was just killing the United States at the time.
Huh. Well, that's definitely something to look forward. Hopefully when it gets added to an Olympic game, it'll be kind of a cakewalk like when softball was in the Olympics.
Right, and then, it's going to take time like the Dream Team did in '92 to where now it's a little bit tougher for the United States to win the gold. So I think if football will go through the same type of trajectory. So I do see it being in the Olympics because there's a lot of good football talent out there right now.
Bowl game. Outside of the college football playoff, what's the one that you're most looking forward to?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, I'm looking forward to this one coming up this Saturday between Louisiana and Nevada. The Raging Cajuns are going for their fourth straight bowl victory, their fourth straight New Orleans Bowl victory, which would be impressive. I think they're the only school in the state to have that going for them. LSU hasn't won 3 straight or 4 straight bowl games. Tulane hasn't won 4 straight. So I think that's a big game that I'm excited to see.
Who's your favorite Louisiana-Lafayette alum?
Man, that's a good question. I would have to say, I'm going to have to go old school. Brian Mitchell, when I got there and I wore number 1 in high school, I was like, okay, I want number 1 when I get to college. And the guy was like, number 1 is retired. I was like, well, retired? Like, that's dumb. And he's like, well, Brian Mitchell wore it. I was like, wow. And so he was like, we also never had a 1,000-yard rush. I was like, well, Brian Mitchell was a running back. He was like, no. When he was here, he played quarterback.
It's quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So Brian Mitchell, and then going back and looking at his highlights and what he did for this program and how he put it on the map, Southwestern Louisiana at the time, it was impressive. So I say he'd be my favorite.
Brian Mitchell went on to have a great career. Washington, Philly. I think he's with the Giants too. Something like Mr. All NFC East, just a do-it-all running back, return specialist. Awesome guy.
Yeah, he played everywhere.
There you go. 2015 draft, looking forward to it. Give me a couple names or under the radar that's got you excited.
Well, you look at a quarterback from a small school, and there's two guys. There's Austin Dodge they're playing actually in the NAIA championship game, and he's from Southern Oregon. Very good quarterback. I mean, skill set reminds me a lot of Jay Cutler as far as the arm, the athleticism, what he can do on the move. He's a tremendous talent. He's being coached actually by the guy that coached Tim Tebow in high school. So he's doing a lot with his legs, a lot with his arm, but he's a pure pocket passer that just so happens to have athleticism. And there's a guy that's very under the radar. He's probably not going to get drafted, but I would say he'll find his way on an NFL roster in a camp, and that's Frank Rivers out of Albany State. Quarterback transferred from Grambling. He was at Grambling for his freshman year, transferred out to Albany State. He has everything that they want at the next level as far as size. He's 6'6", 230. He has a rocket arm, and he got better every year. So his best football, you can tell, is ahead of him. He pro-style offense, under center, turning your back to the defense, going back and resetting your reads, and I think he does a great job with that. And I just hope he gets that opportunity, but he is another one that has impressed when you pop on film.
You heard it here first, everyone. Austin Dodge, Frank Rivers, super sleepers, 2015. Going to come in, tear up the NFL, and if not CFL, and then come into the NFL.
Right, or somewhere, man. Just as long as they're playing, I'm all for it. I don't knock anyone that plays football for a living and get paid for it. So
there you go. Emory, we got to get off the field, so let's go 3 and out, a list of 3 quick-fire questions to bring us on home. You ready?
Ready for it.
First one, who was the most influential in your career, football and media-wise?
Football-wise, I would say my high school running backs coach, Juan Hall, because he came into my life at a time where I had questions about my skill set. I had questions about everything, and he just showed me that there's a better way, and he also made me believe again. And, he's the one that got me going back on the right track. My other high school coaches did well, Mike Lee and Sam Hill. They were a big influence. But by that time, at that point, when we brought in the new running backs coach, I was at a bad place, and he got me back on the right track. So he'd be the most influential person in my career.
What about media? What about getting into football game plan?
You know what? I was always a big fan of Solomon Wilcox and Sterling Sharp. I believe they explained the game and properly, and I was always a big fan of how well they did on television. And those are the two that just gave me, the motivation to continue to do it. I always enjoy watching them break down the game. And Brock Heward is another one that's excellent on TV.
There you go. Very cool. One piece of advice that you give someone who want to follow in your footsteps.
I say keep doing what you're doing. Do what makes you happy and do what you do best. And in life, if you want to do anything, you definitely can get it done, because I've accomplished about 6 goals that I set in my life that I thought was probably unattainable. And, it happens. So as long as you put your mind to anything, it's cheesy, but it's so true. You can do whatever you want to do in life as long as you decide to do it.
How about a book recommendation? We're big readers here on Football Convos. Football, life, otherwise, what you got?
Well, 2. One would be Stiff Arming Football Myths, obviously. That's a great that people should read. And the other one that I would recommend is The Power of Focus. That's a big-time book, a favorite of mine that I've read that you should check out. And also Don't Flinch by Barry Alvarez, his autobiography. Great read.
Do you think Barry Alvarez is finally going to get a bowl win this year? He didn't last year.
I think
2 years ago.
I think he will. I think he likes this idea of just coaching bowl games. So I think he'll get it done. I like Wisconsin and what they've been able to do over the course of 25 years under Alvarez and under his tutelage as the AD.
Mm-hmm. What's your end game? What's your 10-year plan? Where do you see yourself?
Being Football Game Plan's CEO, founder, and analyst. This is it. This is what my calling is. And ultimately, if I had to take something else, I would probably go back into coaching, be a head coach somewhere.
Oh, awesome. Just wrapping up, how can people interact with you, get all of Football Game Plan's beautiful stuff?
Well, they can find me on Twitter at FBallGamePlan, on our website at footballgameplan.com, and also on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. We're also on Instagram, Football Game Plan. Just Google Football Game Plan. You're going to find everything where we are. Everything is just Football Game Plan, from Vine to Instagram to Google Plus is FBGP Network. And we have a Facebook fan page.
There you go. And all this info will be available on our Football Convos show page. Emory, it was great talking to you. Thanks for coming on Football Convos. It was a lot of fun, man.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Keep chopping wood. You guys doing a great job over here.
There you go. Persistence.
It pays.
Thanks for listening to Football Convos. For more daily football conversations, visit footballconvos.com or visit us at iTunes.